Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're not just looking at traditional farming. Nope, we're diving into agricultural science as a high-stakes biological engineering puzzle. We are going to explore how humanity literally hacks nature to survive. Let's kick things off by looking at the sheer, staggering scale of our existential math problem. Take India, for example. The population there is well over 1 billion people, and it's still climbing. That's 1 billion mouths to feed every single day. To sustain that many people, we're soon going to need 250 million tons of grain every single year. Let that sink in for a second. Now, traditionally, you just clear more forests and farm more land, right? But India's already intensively cultivated. We have absolutely zero extra land to just casually expand into. The real estate is completely tapped out. So here's the $1 million, or rather billion-person question. How do we solve a massive food shortage for 1 billion people with no new land? We can't just expand outward. We have to look inward. We literally must scientifically hack our production efficiency across everything, from the plants we grow to the livestock we raise. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover the food security challenge, improving crop varieties, managing crop production, protecting the harvest, advancing animal husbandry, and finally, fisheries and beekeeping. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the Food Security Challenge, which is about way more than just grain. Now, we've actually hacked our way out of starvation before with the green and white revolutions, but those seriously depleted our natural resources. So we've got to understand a core philosophy here. Simply cranking up grain production and stuffing it into warehouses doesn't automatically cure hunger. Food security is a two-way street. It depends on both availability and access. Think about it. If the agricultural workers themselves lack the purchasing power to buy the food they grow, the whole system fails. We have to increase incomes right alongside yields. So let's peek inside the actual biological toolkit. In India, between 1952 and 2010, food grain production quadrupled. But here's the crazy part. The cultivatable land only increased by 25%. How on earth did we pull off that massive jump in efficiency? Well, it all comes down to 3 core phases of agricultural hacking. You can think of it kind of like designing, fueling, and defending a biological machine. Step 1 is choosing the right seeds. Step 2 is nurturing those plants. And step 3 is protecting the crops, both while they're growing out in the field and after they're harvested. Moving on to Section 2, improving crop varieties, designing the perfect seed. This is where the mad science happens. We're engineering crops to work harder and faster than nature ever intended. Through hybridization, which is crossing genetically dissimilar plants, and genetic modification, scientists are creating these incredible super seeds. We want disease resistance and high yields, obviously, but consider something like a shorter maturity duration. If a crop grows faster, it consumes fewer resources and allows a farmer to squeeze multiple harvests into a single year. We're also engineering for wider adaptability, making sure these crops can survive unpredictable climates and even highly saline soils. Which brings us to Section 3, managing crop production, the nurturing phase. Once you've got that perfect seed, you enter the nurturing phase. Just like you and I need our specific macros, carbs and protein, plants need their own highly specific diet. This is literally how air, water, and soil chemically construct a plant. Air gives them carbon and oxygen, water handles the hydrogen, but the soil, that's doing the heavy lifting, providing 13 essential nutrients. You've got your macronutrients, like nitrogen and phosphorus, needed in large amounts, and micronutrients, like iron and zinc, needed in tiny little doses. If just one of these is deficient, the plant's growth and reproduction stall out entirely. So how exactly do we deliver these nutrients? We've basically got 2 main tools. On one side, we have manure and vermicompost. This is biological waste that gives a slow release of nutrients while physically improving the soil's structure and water retention. On the flip side, we have commercial fertilizers. These deliver massive, rapid nutrient spikes for super high yields, but it comes at a cost. Overuse of fertilizers harms soil microorganisms and risks severe water pollution. It's this classic battle of short-term high-yield benefits versus long-term sustainable soil health. Beyond what we feed the plants, we also hack how we plant them. Farmers today are basically spatial engineers. Through mixed cropping, they might scatter wheat and gram together to reduce the risk of total crop failure. With intercropping, they plant specific alternating rows, like soybean and maize, so the plants don't compete for the exact same nutrients, and pests can't easily sweep across the entire field. And then with crop rotation, they'll grow different crops in a pre-planned succession to naturally replenish the soil year after year. All right, Section 4, protecting the harvest, defending the yield. So we've designed the seed, we've fueled the plant, and now we defend it. Because out in the field, nature is constantly trying to steal those calories back. Our engineered crops face a never-ending war. Weeds steal space, light, and nutrients. Insect pests chew roots, suck cell sap, and bore right into the stems. Pathogens like bacteria and fungi cause devastating diseases. But here is the real kicker. Huge, massive losses happen after the harvest. Storage pests, fungi, and poor moisture control can literally destroy millions of tons of grain just sitting in warehouses. That is exactly why careful fumigation and strict temperature control in storage are just as absolutely critical as pesticides in the field. Let's shift gears to Section 5, Advancing Animal Husbandry, the Ultimate Biological Converters. Pivoting from plants over to the animal kingdom, animal husbandry isn't just about farming. It's really about utilizing animals as the ultimate biological converters. Just like with seeds, we scientifically upgrade our livestock. Take cattle, for instance. We crossbreed exotic foreign breeds like Jerseys, which have exceptionally long lactation periods, with local breeds like the Red Cindy, which have incredible natural disease resistance. In poultry, we mix indigenous birds with exotic breeds like the Leghorn. Chickens are absolutely brilliant at this. They take low-fiber agricultural byproducts that humans can't even digest, and they convert them into highly nutritious protein. And this is why animal husbandry is such a game changer. It provides us with incredibly dense concentrations of protein, fat, and crucial vitamins to fuel human development. Look at meat and fish. They're hovering around 20% pure protein. This whole biological conversion process is absolutely vital for human health. And finally, Section 6, Fisheries and Beekeeping, utilizing every ecosystem. See, we don't just farm the dirt, we harvest the rivers, the oceans, and literally even the air. When it comes to fish, which is a crucial, cheap source of animal protein, we basically have two methods. Capture fishing is essentially hunting wild fish across vast coastlines using high-tech tools like satellites and echo sounders. But wild marine stocks are rapidly depleting. So to survive, we're shifting more and more to culture fishery, highly controlled fish farming in inland or marine waters. And we maximize this farming through a truly brilliant biological hack called the composite fish culture system. Get this, we put 5 or 6 totally different fish species into a single pond, but they don't compete. Catless eat at the water's surface, rohus feed right in the middle zone, and mriggles and common carps scavenge the bottom. By layering them like this, they consume all the available food in the ecosystem without fighting each other, which massively increases the pond's overall yield. We apply this exact same logic out in the ocean through mariculture, actively farming high-value organisms like prawns and oysters directly in seawater. And briefly, we even utilize the air through beekeeping. By bringing in high-yielding Italian bees, farmers create this amazing low-investment, high-return biological system. It generates extra income through honey and wax while simultaneously pollinating crops. It's a total win-win. So there you have it. We have the science. From genetically modified, fast-maturing seeds to multi-layered fish ponds, we know exactly how to hack biology to produce mountains of calories and protein. But I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. We can engineer enough food, but can we afford the environmental cost? True food security means we must embrace sustainable, mixed farming practices, balancing natural manure with those heavy fertilizers and crop rotation with advanced genetics. Because if our high-yield hacking destroys the soil and water in the process, we simply won't have a planet left to feed us tomorrow. Definitely something to think about next time you sit down for a meal. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.